I'm an applied ecologist who uses science to improve the management of natural ecosystems. My research is in two broad fields. The first is around biological invasions, invasive alien plants and so on, where we look not only at the ecology but how to manage them. And the second field is around fires, what the effects of fires are on natural ecosystems and how you manage them. I was born and raised in Cape Town, and Cape Town was a very different place to what it is today. There was open beaches and mountains and the sea, and it was a much less densely populated place than it is now. My interest in nature stemmed from collecting a set of 20 plastic Coca-Cola animals which you exchanged for bottle tops at the cafes. And after that I became a keen naturalist, a keen birder and a keen angler. I always wanted to be a game ranger, but there was no course that you could study. And then just in time, when I matriculated, I found out about Stellenbosch University's BSc degree in forestry with nature conservation as a major subject. I applied immediately for that and I was accepted, luckily.
My father had a definitive influence on my career. We grew up in Jonkershoek and he tried very hard to make my first word be Swartboskloof, which was his study site. And while he failed in that endeavour, he did take us all around the country to lots of different nature reserves and national parks. We had many unique nature experiences, but we were also exposed to many discussions about the threats to biodiversity and to ecosystems. With my dad's determined nature, I decided that I was going to be an environmental lawyer. However, during my studies, I realized that I really enjoyed science, and I followed in my father's footsteps to become an ecologist, where I now work at sandparks.
When I graduated with a forestry degree, I got a job at the Jonkershoek Centre researching fire ecology in fynbos vegetation, and this then led to my MSc degree. Fires in fynbos also spread invasive alien trees, so my work on fynbos fires led naturally to alien plant management. I worked with colleagues on modelling the effects of these invasions on water resources, and this ultimately led to the Working for Water program, which both employs thousands of previously unemployed people and frees up water resources. I was appointed as the first program manager for the Working for Water program and went on after that to become the scientific advisor for the program. Later I expanded my research into savanna ecosystems. I took a sabbatical and worked in the Kruger National Park on the effects of fire and how they interact with elephants and trees.
Brian van Wilgen is internationally recognized for a substantial contribution to the fields of invasive plant ecology and fire ecology. But more important, he's recognized for framing his research in such a way that it leads seamlessly to implementation. In fact, I would say that puts Brian in a very small group of scientists globally, his ability to bridge the gap between research and management.
Overall, Brian's example really shaped my own research career in many ways and even my own fields of interest. Brian used sensible and simple methods rather than trying to baffle and impress with complicated and expensive materials and methods. Brian basically laid the foundation in the fields of fire ecology and invasion biology in both fynbos and savanna systems, which is really significant. I have huge respect for Brian as a colleague and a scientist. It was a privilege to work with him, and I think his research work will have a significant impact on conservation today and into the future.
Brian's research on the role of fire in Mediterranean-type ecosystems and savannas has been highly influential. His work on how fire interacts with invasive plants and how this influences the options for management has been highly cited. He has published important papers on the impacts of invasive species on biodiversity and ecosystem services and on optimizing strategies for their management. Brian's research over more than 40 years has had a huge influence on ecosystem management in South Africa and has also inspired a new generation of researchers.
I hope that my work has helped people to understand the ecological role that fires play in ecosystems and also given them the tools to manage fires better. With regard to alien plants, I hope I've raised awareness of the threats that they pose to ecosystem stability and conservation. The work that I and my colleagues have done has certainly provided the justification for embarking on widespread control programs and also provided unemployed people with the opportunity to get jobs.
The best thing about growing up with my dad was just, I guess, the places we got to stay and where we got to visit, and we were always surrounded by nature, and he would always teach us about everything we saw, to look at the small details, to focus on the little things, not just the big details. Yeah, to really take an interest in how things work and how the world is interconnected. I think I've applied that to everything that I do in my life, just that curiosity. It's stuck with me, and it's really helped to just broaden my horizons.
We are very lucky to live in one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. We've got everything from rainforests to deserts, and from coral reefs to cold water kelp beds, and everything in between. If you want to work as an ecologist, there's no better place on earth to do it. There are many challenges out there, and we will need motivated and dedicated scientists to deal with them. Ecology will remain a very important career.